It all started with a letter taped to my front door. Bold letters, HOA logo at the top, and the kind of tone that makes you instantly annoyed before you even finish reading. Apparently, my backyard fire pit, something my family and I had used for years for cookouts, s'mores, and late-night stories, was suddenly asterisk, not in compliance asterisk. No warning, no discussion, just banned. That fire pit wasn't just for fun. It was where I bonded with my neighbors, friends, and especially my buddies from the Marine Corps. So yeah, I took a little personally. Instead of getting angry or sending some strongly worded email, I had a different idea. What if I turned this ridiculous situation into something unforgettable? I made a few calls, reached out to some Marine friends, and let's just say, the response was a little louder than the HOA expected. Literally. Picture this: grills fired up, flags flying, the smell of barbecue in the air, and the roar of a military helicopter coming in over the treetops. Was it extreme? Maybe. Was it worth it? Absolutely. But the best part, that wasn't even the craziest thing that happened that day. Because right when we thought we were in the clear, someone unexpected showed up. And what happened next? You're not gonna believe it. So here's the thing, our neighborhood isn't exactly the wild kind. It's quiet, clean, trimmed hedges, people walking their dogs with matching leashes and jackets. Most folks wave, but they like to keep to themselves. And the HOA, they love their rules. No oversized flags, no visible trash cans, and apparently now, no fire pits, even if they're safely built and used responsibly. I have asked around, and nobody recalled any recent vote or discussion about the ban. It just showed up, out of nowhere. The fire pit had been a centerpiece of our little community. Even a few of the board members had roasted marshmallows there last summer. That's what made it sting more. It wasn't just about the pit. It felt like someone somewhere was trying to flex a little power just to see how far they could push. So, the Marine Corps cookout wasn't just about grilling burgers. It was about standing up. Peacefully but boldly. I called in some old buddies, including one pilot who owed me a favor. He didn't hesitate. We coordinated everything. Permissions, safety, the whole thing done right. And as the neighborhood gathered, curious about the noise and smoke, the chopper came in, slow and steady, kicking up leaves and drawing every eye to the sky. Then that black SUV rolled up. No plates, windows tinted, and things got real. Fast. At first, we thought it might have just been someone from the HOA coming to scold us again. But the black SUV wasn't like anything I'd seen parked in our neighborhood before. No logo, no local plates, and nobody inside looked like they were there for potato salad. Two guys stepped out, dressed sharp, too sharp for a weekend barbecue. They didn't smile, just scanned the yard, the helicopter now powered down behind us, and walked straight toward me. One of them asked who gave permission for a low-altitude military landing in a residential zone. Not in a loud voice, but the kind that says he's not here to talk about burgers. Before I could respond, one of my Marine buddies stepped in, calm but firm. Everything's cleared. Flight path was coordinated. FAA signed off. The guy nodded, didn't argue, just made a note on some tablet and kept watching. That's when the whispers started. A few neighbors mentioned seeing those same guys at a board meeting weeks ago, just sitting in the back, not speaking. No names, no introductions. Someone joked they looked government, but nobody thought much of it at the time. Now, it felt a little less funny. Meanwhile, the HOA president hadn't shown up all day. Totally vanished. No emails, no texts. And the letter banning the fire pit. Turns out, nobody could confirm who actually sent it. By now, the whole block had gathered. Kids clung to their parents, people had their phones out, recording from behind hedges and porch railings. What started as a cookout had turned into something no one expected. The men in suits were still there, watching everything, saying little, but clearly collecting details. My Marine buddies kept things cool, cracking a few light jokes, but even they were on edge. That kind of quiet tension, where everyone's smiling on the outside, but ready for something to go sideways. Then someone pointed it out. Up on the hill, near the walking trail behind the neighborhood, there was a second fire pit. Not mine, not even close to mine. Bigger, newer, and still smoking like it had just been used. A few of the neighbors went up to look. No one knew who built it. It wasn't on anyone's property, just tucked into the edge of the woods. That's when we started piecing it together. Maybe the fire pit ban wasn't about mine at all. Maybe it was a cover for something else. Someone using the HOA rules as a shield. And then word spread fast. Some neighbors had gotten letters about suspicious gatherings and unauthorized backyard activity days before I even got mine. Right as things hit that boiling point, a second helicopter sound broke through the sky. But this time, it wasn't one of ours. At first, we thought it might just be another late arrival to the party. But the second helicopter didn't match anything we had arranged. No one recognized the model. It was smaller, darker, and flew lower than it should have over residential airspace. It circled once, then hovered near the same hill where that mystery fire pit was found. The suits immediately perked up, muttering into earpieces, shifting their stance. My buddy Jake, the pilot who flew in earlier, narrowed his eyes and said quietly, "That's not friendly." The neighbors backed away instinctively, clutching their kids, as a rope line dropped from a hovering aircraft. One figure descended quickly, all black gear, no markings. Not military, not police, just silent and fast. The second twist hit all of us at once. This wasn't about a fire pit at all. This had layers. Someone had been using the HOA, not to enforce safety, but to cover tracks. And that fire pit up on the hill, it wasn't for cookouts. It was more like a drop point. The suited men moved fast, but not toward the helicopter. They walked straight to me. One leaned in and said, "You weren't supposed to uncover this." Before I could respond, a loud pop echoed from the hill, like a flare or a signal. Everyone froze. The second helicopter peeled off and disappeared beyond the trees. That's when the screaming started. The flare burst above the trees like a firework, red and fast burning. That's when everyone scattered. Some ran toward their homes, others ducked behind fences or cars. I held my ground, trying to keep eyes on everything. The man in black was gone, vanished into the woods the second the flare went up. The suits were now fully on comms, tense, sharp movements, scanning the hill with what looked like thermal scopes. Jake grabbed my arm and said, "We need to move now." But I couldn't. I needed answers. Then, out of nowhere, the missing HOA president came walking down the path from the hill, alone holding a clipboard. Calm, like none of the chaos around him mattered. I shouted, asking where he'd been. He just smiled and said, "Sometimes rules are made to keep people from asking questions." That's when it clicked. The fire pit ban wasn't random. It was a distraction, meant to stir things up, keep attention away from that drop zone up the hill, and I had played right into it. But here's the twist. As the suits moved in to detain the HOA president, one of my neighbors, a quiet older woman who always baked cookies for block parties, stepped forward and said, "He's not the one running this." Everyone turned. She pulled a small badge from her jacket. "I am." And just like that, everything changed again. Everything went quiet. Even the birds seemed to stop. The sweet old neighbor, Mrs. Green, the same one who used to knit scarves for everyone's dogs, stood there, calm as ever, holding a federal badge. She explained, quickly and quietly, that she'd been working undercover for years, monitoring strange activity tied to certain neighborhoods across the country. Ours had become a hub for encrypted communications and covert drops, using HOA enforcement as cover. The fake fire pit ban, just one of many tactics they used to push attention in certain directions. The man we thought was the HOA president, a placeholder, a puppet. The real power had been shifting behind the scenes for months. The letters, the sudden rule changes, even the timing of neighborhood meetings, it was all orchestrated. And somehow, My little cookout had thrown a wrench into the whole thing. Within an hour, the second chopper was officially grounded by federal agents. The suited men weren't the bad guys. They were there to extract intel, not residents. No arrests happened that day, but the message was clear: the operation was over. As the smoke cleared, literally and figuratively, we packed up the grills, laughed a little nervously, and shook our heads. A simple backyard fire pit had exposed something way bigger than any of us expected. And you better believe we're keeping it.